Discussions with a Nobody podcast. As I'm recording this, it is Friday night, October the 25th, 2024, and I know it has been a very long time since I recorded one of these. Last time I talked about how busy and exciting my spring had been. My summer, my early fall was busy. Also kind of dealt with some mental anxiety struggles, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, but want to remind everyone about this show. You can get us Discussions with a Nobody on all podcast platforms. You can also follow the show on Twitter at DWANpod, Facebook. We are at Discussions with a Nobody. You can also follow me personally at Big Jim Sports on Twitter. A disclaimer, at least for the next couple of weeks, will be very politics heavy on the Twitter. So if you do follow along there, that is your one and only warning. Proceed at your own risk. But I will certainly be talking about politics in the upcoming election here in this discussion tonight. But again, I do want to address just the long period of time since my last recording, and this I've just kind of had some mental blocks about content to record, and then when I would have an idea, it would just kind of be a struggle at times to record, and I'll get more in depth into that in the discussion. But I am going to try to at least get a new episode of this show about once a month, as I can come up with things. And I want to get back to having some guests on and talk about different things. I still want to get former guest, friend of the show, Ernest E.J. Christian. We've been talking about doing a top 10 Stripers song list. We have an idea about a favorite cover songs podcast with a few friends of mine, maybe getting that sometime soon as well. So some ideas have been kicked around, and I certainly want to get to those. But, I want to thank you for your support always. If you do enjoy the show at all, please share it with somebody. Encourage them to do the same if they enjoy it. Like, subscribe, follow the show where you can, rate and review. That's the least that I ask is just if you can do that and help get the word of the show around. So let's dive right in. First thing on the show this time is I've done these top 10 band songs lists in the past, and I really didn't have intention on doing one again for a while, at least until, like I said a little bit in my intro, I have Ernest E.J. Christian on to do our top 10 Striper songs, which I still really need to dig into the catalog a bit and do them. But I was recently compelled to dig back into a band I hadn't listened to in a while. This is a band that I had first heard, I would say, my freshman year of college. I was a lot of my friends that I went to college with were into the CKY videos and MTV's Jackass and the band CKY and Bam Margera. And while starting to get into that just because of the people around me, the band Him, and you probably have would recognize their logo, the Heartagram logo that like Bam Margera had tattooed and throughout his house if you watched Viva La Bam or anything Jackass like 2, 3 or beyond or anything like that. And they are a Finnish gothic rock band, sometimes referred to as love metal or romance rock or stuff like that. But as much as I fell in love with the band CKY and some of the other bands that were featured in those movies and videos and things, it was Him that I actually really fell in love with more than any of them. And the musicality of the band, just the variety of sound from song to song, album to album, is what really really hooked me. Ville Valo's voice as a vocalist, I really enjoy. If you know about me, like in my favorite bands, the vocalist is distinct. Queen, Kiss, Stryper, him, like, and others, that like the voice is really distinct, and when you hear it, you know it's them. It's not like, oh, this is that one band from the 80s, this is that one band from the 90s. You hear it, you know it. You hear the voice, you know who it is. And that's one of the things that really hooked me as well. And digging back through the catalog a bit more, because recently at my job we started like a music teams chat. So if you were listening to something in particular, a song, an album, and you wanted to share it with somebody, it's like a place, a designated place to share it with friends. And for some reason, it might have been because my friend Ryan had recently Ryan and Charlie had gone to a CKY show. I actually didn't go to the show, but it kind of compelled me to dig back in some bands I hadn't listened to in a while, him being one of them. And we were talking about some of our favorite bands at work, and I was like, you know what? There's probably, I would assume there's probably people who haven't really heard of him, and especially some of the deeper cuts. So I shared one of the songs there, and immediately a couple people messaged me and were like, I'm really digging this. So I kind of gave a few more suggestions, and it really like sparked I need to go back and listen to him again, and go back into the catalog a bit that I haven't listened to in a very long time. And so I did it, and it kind of inspired me to dig out my top 10. And I'm not going to like necessarily do this like I've done in the past, where I play a clip of a song, talk about the song a little bit. I'm going to go through them and let you know what the song is, the album that it was from. And I certainly encourage to at least go check out these 10. If you have any other hymn songs that you want me to recommend, I'll be glad to do that. But yeah, just I will read them off and play a little clip of the song. But just these 10, and you'll hear it, there's such a variety of different sound and tempo and musicality and everything just in these 10 songs. And it's just, again, part of the reason why I love this band as much as I do is no song is the same, no album is the same. And even as you go through, if you listen to one of their albums, song to song is not the same, and it's something that I really love. So number 10, it's the song Acoustic Funeral, for Love in Limbo. It's from the album Screamworks, Love in Theory and Practice.
Save my last breath for your window to write you this song. The acoustic funeral for love in limbo.
Number 9 is Your Sweet 666 from Greatest Love Songs, Volume 666.
I'm so hard to let go. I'm waiting for your call, and I'm ready to take your 666 in my
heart. It's actually really hard for me to not sing along with these as I play the clips. I promise you, I have much more respect for you as my listener to not do that to you. Number 8, Wings of a Butterfly from the album Dark Light.
Come on and show them your love. Rip out the wings of a butterfly for your soul, my love. Rip out the wings.
All right, number 7 is the song Pretending. It is from the album Deep Shadows, Brilliant Highlights. Also featured in the movie Haggard, which was a Bam Margera produced movie. If you have not seen that, I highly recommend that. One of my favorite kind of cult favorite, independent movies ever. But here is Pretending.
Love is a flame that can be tamed, and though we are its willing prey, my darling, we are not the ones to blame.
All right, number 6 is the song Buried Alive by Love. It is from the album Love Metal.
But a cold is a dead heart, and it feels like I've been buried alive by love. If I should die before I wake, pray no one my soul to take. And if I wake before I...
All right, number 5 is The Funeral of Hearts, also from the album Love Metal.
Love's the funeral of hearts, and an unformed cruelty when angels cry blood, fires of evil.
All right, number 4 is the song Beautiful. It is from the album From Deep Shadows, Brilliant Highlights. Fun fact about this song, it was my wife and I's first dance when we were married.
Just one look into your eyes, one look and I'm crying, 'cause you're so beautiful.
Another cool thing that him has done, and I pulled a separate clip of this song. They've done 2. They're called Uneasy Listening, where they re-record or remix, remaster songs from their catalog into very different styles and genres. So they took this song and made it a rock version. So check this out.
Just one look into your eyes, one look and I'm crying, 'cause you're so beautiful, yeah.
All right, my top 3. This is from the album Razorblade Romance. It is called Right Here in My Arms.
Happiness is killing high. It's clear she'll be right here in my arms, so in love. She'll be right here.
So the top 2 was very hard. These 2, when I started making the list, they were definitely locked into the top 2 spots. And ultimately what was the tiebreaker for the eventual number 1 song is it was also featured in the movie Haggard, which was probably a huge part of the reason why I fell in love with kind of the CKY Bam Margera world and the band so much, because I watched that movie so many times that I just grew to love the music more and more and more. So the top 2 songs are, again, they are just about neck and neck with how much I love them, but that's the edge was there. However, my number 2 song was featured in the movie Bam Margera Presents Where the F is Santa, and it is a kind of jackass Viva La Bam style Christmas movie that my wife and I still watch every year during the month of December. So, but this song from the album Venus Doom is Dead Lover's Lane.
Crawl down that lover's lane, the maze of memories stain inside the blood right out of my heart.
And the number 1 hymn song for me, anyway, is off the album from the album Deep Shadows and Brilliant Highlights, and it is the song called Lose You Tonight.
Please stay, and I learned to love you right, 'cause I was waiting for you, waiting for all my
as I play that, I'm like picturing some of the opening scenes of the movie Haggard. So again, that is my top 10. If you enjoyed any of them, let me know which one you enjoyed the most. I would appreciate that. If you kind of dig into the catalog a little bit more, reach out to me again at DWAN Pod on Twitter, Discussions with a Nobody on Facebook, and you can get me at Big Jim Sports on Twitter. That's my personal. Reach out to me. Let me know. I'd love to know if this kind of sparked your interest to, dig into the band Him a little bit. But if not, that's okay. I'm not upset. Music is certainly one of those things where, everybody kind of has their own taste and flavor. So, but yeah, let me know if this kind of sparked your interest in the band a bit. All right, next thing that I want to talk about on this show is, as I'm recording this, we are about 11 days, and I say about because I'm almost at midnight on Friday, and going into Saturday, so it's somewhere between 11 and 10 days as of recording time to Election Day. And I know you're probably surprised. I'm sure you've not seen any or heard any commercials with ads about the election, but there's been a couple out there, so maybe you'll see one or two before the big day comes. But I want to kind of give some thoughts and feelings and fears and concerns about the big day 11 days from now, because again, part of the origin story of this show came during the pandemic, and obviously things became very political during the pandemic, whether it was the former president's handling of the pandemic, the former presidents wanting us to put bleach through our bodies to kill the germs during the pandemic, whether it was, the former president not being able to accept that he lost the election, got his ass kicked in the election, and encouraged a insurrection against this country on January 6th before Joe Biden was inaugurated as the now current president of the United States. And just the, everything over the last 4.5, almost 5 years that has gone on in this country. I've talked about politics many times on this show. I've talked a lot about my personal feelings a lot on this show. And before I talk about Harris versus Trump, I want to talk, and I probably should have done this, back when the decision by our current president was made to no longer run for re-election and to basically end his political career. Of course, at 80 plus years old. This is kind of the end of the line for Joe Biden as a politician, as a servant to this country. And I want to give some thoughts on his exit, the way he exited, why he exited, and all of that. And and firstly, I understand that first debate was not a good night for Joe Biden, and really kind of was the beginning of the end for him as a politician. And I think ultimately the good that will come out of that night and the decision is, hopefully in 11 days, we will know that Harris Walz as a campaign and as a running duo will be your new president and vice president, and have defeated Trump and Vance. But look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know every little detail of the career of Joe Biden. I first was aware of Joe Biden when he was the running mate and then vice president of Barack Obama. the second president that I ever voted for. And he just always came across to me as like a genuine person that, in a world of slimy politicians. And look, I'm not sitting here pretending that anybody is the cleanest of the clean, but in a world of what is politics is dirty, politics is messy, Joe Biden seemed to be a good person. And that always seemed to kind of come through. And you saw a genuine side. You saw a guy that wasn't afraid to talk about, the bad things in his life, the traumas in his life. And when he decided to run for president in 2020 to try to stop the reelection of Donald Trump, it just came across as, just, wow, this is what a candidate can be in a world that was just in a political scene that it was just so crazy and dumb for the 4 years that we were under Donald Trump. And over the last 4 years, I've seen the Biden administration do really amazing work and to kind of recover the economy and to to do a lot of the things that he set out to do. And then at 80 plus years old, he gets on a debate stage after campaigning all day and traveling all day. And even though there was times where, he would stutter because he's had a stutter forever. And there was times where he looked a little lost or confused or he, mental lapses, but who hasn't? I've been podcasting for 10 years. If you've listened to me at any point in those 10 years, and I'll probably now do it on this show, but if you've listened to me at all in these 10 years, you have most undoubtedly heard me miss a word, stutter over a word, say the wrong word, say the wrong thing. Luckily for me, I don't do it in front of the whole world on national TV. And so there was times along the campaign and along the administration where it's like, oh man, he's slipping a little bit. And then on the debate stage, he looked old and sounded old. And for the next couple of days, that was the only news that we heard. That was the only thing that was talked about. Was it's time. It's time. They have to force him out. They have to do this. They have to do. And I just, it was wild to me because we've watched his opponent, the former president, say the most absurd things for the last almost 9 years now and get progressively weirder and crazier and dumber and just off the walls ridiculous. And keep in mind, the former president is only like a couple of years younger than Joe Biden. And not a doctor here, but seemingly in a lot worse shape. Yesterday, Joe Biden jogged over to reporters and addressed them. I don't know that Donald Trump has ever jogged. Certainly with his bone spurs, he probably hasn't. But, yeah, I just, and then, you know, they get through the convention, get towards the, gets towards the convention. They got through the Republican convention, and the whole tone of the Republican convention is, again, Sleepy Joe, Tired Joe, Old Joe. This guy can't do it anymore. He can't do it. And then shortly after the Republican convention, Joe Biden made the announcement that he was no longer seeking re-election, that he would step away instead and have a new candidate, which quickly became Kamala Harris. And I was equal parts sad about, how the end of Joe Biden's career happened. But I was also very happy that that cloud wasn't hanging over this whole thing anymore. And I was also very happy that, our current vice president is the person that will now have the opportunity to defeat Donald Trump. And, and to see the energy around her and her campaign and the things that she wants to do for this country to keep us going in a positive direction that we've been going, and and really keep a lot of people protected by the laws of this country that the former president wants to do away with, and create chaos and fuel hatred and all of that. So I am very excited that she is the nominee. I love Tim Walz, her vice presidential running mate. And it is awesome to hopefully 11 days from now, I guess 10 now, it's after midnight, 10 days from now, hopefully elect our first female president of the United States, because us dudes have had a long time, and we've just, especially recently, we've not done great. But for Joe Biden, the end of his career to be the thing that probably only a very, very, very small percentage of politicians have the class, have the dignity, have the spine to do. And that was put country over self and say, it's time for me to step down. I will remain as president until the end of my term. And but I'm no longer seeking re-election. There is not many politicians that would be willing to do that. But he is. So thank you, Mr. President. And I hope that in 10, 11 days, it'll go from Madam Vice President to Madam President. I'm not going to lie, though. Still a little bit concerned about the election, and these next 10 days are going to be very anxiety-inducing for me, very nerve-wracking for me, as I'm sure it is a lot of people. So if you're with me, you're not alone. If you need to vent, if you need a safe space to talk about things, at Big Jim Sports on Twitter, at TWAN Pod on Twitter, Facebook.com/discussions with the nobody. Because it is very scary. It is a lot to face because of what's at stake. If you listen to polling, which I'm not personally a big fan of in general, but especially now, I feel like there's probably a lot of fake information that's going out, depending on who buys and pays for the polling. but polling suggests it's pretty much a dead heat. Early voting returns and mail-in voting returns give me a little bit of hope, because a lot of times the reason that a Democrat loses a national election or any election is because Democrats don't get out and vote. And it seems like in a lot of states, in a lot of key states, there are record numbers of early and mail-in voting. So that at least encourages me a little bit. But I will not be okay until at the earliest we know who the winner of this election is. There's a general sense of uneasiness within me that I haven't been able to shake for a while. I was going to do this, and I'm going to kind of transition. But and I know the thing over history is you don't tell people who you're voting for. Well, I know this is not a video podcast, but if you tune into my any of my other projects, my wrestling projects, the 3 Count Thursday, or the Take 3 Wrestling podcast, or if you tune into the sports podcast I do, Huddle Up podcast, if you look at my background setup, it'll be very obvious, and obviously who I just was speaking about, obvious who I'm supporting, but yeah, just the general uneasiness. And I was going to talk about this now as I'm transitioning on. I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but it seems more appropriate to put it at this point in the show. Is just kind of a mental health update. Last time I recorded, I talked about things I had been struggling with, but also had some personal kind of successes with some of the big things that I have done this year, the concerns leading up to those, but then the conquering. And since this spring, I've kind of faced similar mental and personal challenges. Crowds and like sensory kind of sensory attacking events have impacted me a lot more since the pandemic. And I used to work at a live sound company, and I used to be around, a lot of people, a lot of sound, concert audio sound at times, like concert audio level sound at times, sometimes even louder. There was one time where they were testing and doing a demo for a particular artist, and the level of bass, like it felt like my teeth were gonna rattle out of my mouth. It was that intense. So like loud sounds, concerts, wrestling shows, things like that, like never really like impacted me. But since the pandemic, since I no longer work in that career, in that world, and because I kind of have a smaller circle, and I don't do as many large events and things, like those like concerts have really been kind of a big like sensory attack, anxiety inducing thing, because it's people, it's lights, pyro, audio. You also have a dark, a no lights like in the house, in the arena, stadium, wherever. So it's just a lot of things that kind of drum up anxieties with me. Because I talked about in previous discussions the concerns I had leading up to WrestleMania. I conquered that. Right, I conquered that back in April of this year. I conquered it. And on fairly short notice, we knew the Foo Fighters were coming to Hershey this year, and we've been wanting to. My wife and I have been wanting to go to see the Foo Fighters for a long time, and on very short notice, there was new tickets were released. More tickets were released for the show, and we decided to go. And then we get there, and we get in the venue, and our seats were in kind of the back corner of the venue, near like the entrance and exit. And we had to get through a crowd of people to get there, because the way this venue is set up is there's 2 entrance and exit points in the back of the stadium. But like right outside this particular entrance / exit were like the porta potties and a food court with like food trucks and the band merchandise. And there was like a smoking area for people who smoke. And it's like it's a tight space to get in and out when there's 30,000 people in a stadium. So we get in, our seats are on the floor, we're on an aisle, and like we get there and there's people in our seats and there's people kind of just around us. And then I look back and I see just this sea of people at the exit, and I kind of had like a panic attack. Like I am trapped in a sea of people. And I had to take myself out of it. I got myself out to like the food court area, and I stayed out there for a while. Was able to collect myself and come back in. Watch the show. We left, and I was okay. But it kind of was like really weighing on me, because not long after that show, I was supposed to go see the band Creed with like my podcasting brothers and some other friends, and where we were going to be sitting for that show was a spot that would have felt much more trapped in for me. And I made the decision to not go. Despite wanting to see the band, wanting to see the show and be there with my friends, I made the extremely difficult decision to not go, because like throughout the course of the summer, like there was times where I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of and I was kind of beating myself up about it, because I felt like I was kind of falling backwards a bit, and almost like I was failing a bit. And so then I did the Foo Fighters show, and I had the mini panic attack, but I got myself collected and I was able to stay in, and even though I was upset at myself that I had it, I was able to go, nope, but I powered through. But then for the next couple of days, I'm just like, there's no, in my head, I'm going, there's no way I can do this Creed show. There's no way. And I kept trying to tell myself, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I'm trying to mentally put myself in the spot, with my friends, and it finally hit a point where I said, there's no way that I can do this. So I told my friends, and they were unbelievably supportive. Not that I ever had doubt. I never had doubt that they wouldn't have been that way. But incredibly supportive. I know they were disappointed. They told me they were disappointed because they wanted me to be there. And one of the guys was supposed to go that we're supposed to go in the group, my friend Tim, had put together a playlist of all the bands that were playing that night's set for the show. So I could listen along. And that type of friendship, not with Tim and the guys I was supposed to go with, to be more mad at me that I held in struggles and the things I was dealing with, were more than mad at me about that than they were about me missing the show. Everybody needs friends like that. Everybody needs friends like that. That are mad that you're not letting them hold you up when you need it. Those are the type of friends that everybody needs. And I am so thankful for friends like that, for brothers like that. It's more than friends. Like these people are my family. These people are my extended family. And and after I didn't go, I kind of was still beating myself up for a bit. It's like, man, how do you let it win? You haven't let it win, it being anxiety, worry, fear. Like, how do you let that win after all these years and years of therapy? I've been going to therapy for 17 years. How do you let it win? And then I had an appointment with my counselor, and I talked about it, and he said, it's okay. Because it's not stopping your life. Look at all of the things that you've done. You went to WrestleMania, and you went to Disney, and you went to hockey games, and you went to other concerts, and you step out of your comfort zones. You travel thousands of miles away from your home area. It's okay. It's okay to say no, and it's okay to sometimes know your limits and say, this one is just not gonna work. I'm not going to be okay at this. Whatever the reason is, it's okay. So after going through a point where I just felt useless, and I almost had trouble functioning beyond work in this kind of brain fog, depression stew, anxiety casserole thing. It's the people in my life, my wife, my friends, my coworkers, who have helped me just remember that it's okay to, and I said this during the pandemic a lot, but it's okay to not be okay. There's sometimes we're just gonna we're gonna go through things, and it's just gonna be shitty sometimes, and we're gonna have bad days, and we're gonna have bad moments, and we're gonna have bad times. But you pull yourself up out of those. And I did that. And I'm feeling a lot better now. Hopefully I'll feel even better in 10 days. But it's something that I'm monitoring and I'm being more aware of. And if I'm struggling with things, I'm going to talk to people, whether it's my wife, whether it's my best friends, whether it's my brother, whether it's my coworkers. And I've told them this, I think. If I haven't, if they hear this, I want people I want people to even keep me accountable. Like it's okay to ask me, like, hey, are you struggling with this? Because the more that my environment around me, and it should be this way with everybody. Like, that's a big thing with mental health and struggles and things is so many people have had to just do it internally. But like, it's as the more that it's out in the open, we're all going to be better for it. So yeah, it's okay to ask me. It's okay to ask me if I'm doing okay. But I am. I'm doing much better than I was. Like I said, hopefully in 10 days I'll be even better. The last thing I have, man, the struggle to keep up with content is almost anxiety inducing. Between podcasts and radio shows, like I listen to Preston and Steve from WMMR in Philly every day, Monday through Friday. Their daily podcast, it's all like the talky bits and entertainment bits and interviews from their morning talk shows. So that goes about 3 hours a day. Now sometimes I will skip over interviews or something, but on average about 3 hours. I listen to the Howard Stern Show when it's on. They're usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, about 3 weeks out of the month. Then I have other podcasts, friends who are podcasters, other podcasts I listen to, Pod Meets World, the Boy Meets World Rewatch podcast. And then TV shows. I'm watching an episode of Boy Meets World every week because I have to keep up with the Pod Meets World. And then like shows that I've watched, you know, the Chicago Fire and Med and PD, Law and Order, SVU, Deadliest Catch, the MTV Challenge. It's something my wife and I watch together. And then sports. Football. Now hockey season's back on. My wife fell in love with baseball this year, so we watched almost every Phillies game this year. And then you add on like documentaries or streaming specials, like the Mr. McMahon documentary, the Menendez brothers documentary. There's there's an Apollo 13 documentary that came out. My wife and I recently just watched The Receiver documentary on Netflix, Hard Knocks on Max. We just started watching the NHL like documentary series on Amazon Prime. And then like new shows. There's not any like current new shows that I watch, but there's shows that are new to me that in the last couple of years I've watched. House of Cards I watched for the first time ever. Stranger Things I watched for the first time ever. I guess the final season of that is coming up next year. I've been encouraged to watch Breaking Bad. Never watched Breaking Bad. Never watched Game of Thrones. Like there's shows that people have like encouraged me to watch that I just haven't. And it's like, man, between work and busy, like just being busy, generally busy in life, and podcasting, and then watching sports, there's not a whole lot of time to listen and watch content. And it has been a struggle for the past 4 to 5 weeks to keep up with all of the things that I want to watch and listen to and absorb content wise. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that. But that's a little snapshot of where I'm at right now. I want to thank everyone again for your continued support. Please, if you listen to the show, if you enjoy it, follow along. Facebook.com/discussions with the nobody. Twitter is at DWAN pod. Please subscribe to the show, rate and review it. tell your friends, tell your family. Subscriptions are free. This Christmas time, get them a subscription to this show. But again, thank you for always being listeners, supporting me. I certainly appreciate it. Until next time, I hope you're doing well, and take a chance. We're in fall. The air's starting to get crisper, at least where I live. Go out, get some fresh air before winter. Thank you so much.